spend your life thinking you'll have more time, more days, more chances, more moments to say the things you never did. But time, it doesn't wait for anyone. Those are words I've come to understand more deeply than I ever wanted to. You see, I've spent decades pretending to be strong men. Warriors, fathers, men who could take on the world. But the truth is, real strength isn't found in the battles you win on screen. It's found in the moments when you have to face life without the people who gave it meaning. The fame, the applause, the lights, they all fade eventually. What remains is the silence. And sometimes that silence weighs heavier than anything I've ever lifted. I've played heroes who could save others, but in life, I couldn't save the ones I loved most. And that's a truth I carry quietly every day. Grief doesn't disappear. It just changes shape. It becomes part of you, stitched into your soul. You don't move on. You move forward, you wake up, you keep breathing, and you carry their memory with you, like a heartbeat that never stops. But even in the pain, there's beauty, because love, real love, doesn't die. It lives in the laughter you remember, in the quiet moments that still make you smile, in the light that never goes out, no matter how dark life gets. I'm 73 now, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's that life isn't about escaping the pain. It's about finding meaning in it, about turning grief into gratitude. If my story reminds someone to love a little harder, to cherish the people they hold dear, or to forgive before it's too late, then maybe that's enough. Maybe that's what all of this was for. Sometimes people ask me how I keep going after everything, after loss, after heartbreak, after all the quiet that follows when the world stops clapping. And the truth is, I don't always know. Some days it's hard to get up. Some days it feels like you're just moving through memories, not moments. But then I remember something. Love doesn't just fade away when the people we love are gone. It changes form. It becomes the reason we keep going. It lives in how we treat others, in the kindness we show, in the way we choose to live our lives. I've learned that strength isn't about never falling apart. It's about finding the courage to rebuild, even when the pieces don't fit the same anymore. And I think that's what keeps me going. Not the movies, not the fame, but the hope that maybe my story, my pain, my mistakes, my love, might help someone else feel less alone. Life's not easy, not for anyone. But if you're listening to this right now, I want you to know, whatever you've lost, whatever you've faced, you're not alone. Keep going. Keep loving. And if you can, subscribe to the channel, not just to honor me, but to be part of something that reminds us all that even through the hardest times, love and humanity will always find a way. You know, when you reach a certain age, you start realizing that the people who shaped you, the ones who gave your life meaning, become memories you hold on to tighter every year. I've lost people I thought I could never live without, but somehow I'm still here. That's the strange thing about grief. It doesn't ask your permission, and it never really leaves. It just becomes a quiet companion, walking beside you, reminding you of how deeply you once loved. I've learned to stop running from that pain, because pain, in its own way, is proof that love was real. And if you're still here, still breathing, then you still have a chance to honor the people you've lost by living, by being kind, by finding light, even when it's hard. Life breaks us all at some point, but it's It's what we do with the broken pieces that defines who we are. So, if you're hearing my voice right now, hold on, love harder, forgive faster. You know, the hardest part about growing older isn't the wrinkles or the aching bones. It's the silence that fills the spaces where laughter used to be. You start remembering the small things, the sound of someone's voice calling your name, the way they smiled, the way their hand felt when it held yours. And when they're gone, you realize those moments were the real treasures all along. I used to think time would heal everything, but the truth is, time doesn't heal. It just teaches you how to live with the scars. I've learned that grief is love with nowhere to go, and you can't outrun it. You just have to let it sit beside you, and with time it stops breaking you. It starts shaping you. There are nights I still talk to the people I've lost. I tell them about the world, about how I'm trying to keep going, even when it's hard. Maybe they can hear me, maybe not. But it gives me peace. Because in some way I know they're still with me. Not in body, but in spirit. Life doesn't promise us forever. It only gives us moments. And it's up to us to make them count. So be kind, be patient, love deeply, and never take anyone for granted. You never know when it'll be the last time you see their smile. And if you believe in something beyond this life, then you know that one day the goodbyes will turn into hellos again. You know, as the years pass, you start to see life differently. When you're young, you chase everything. Success, dreams, recognition, thinking they'll fill some emptiness inside. But when you've lived long enough and you've lost enough, you realize the only thing that ever really matters is the love you gave and the love you received. I've lost people I thought I couldn't live without. And yet somehow, here I am, still breathing, still walking, still remembering. The truth is, you don't ever get over losing someone. You just learn to live in the space they left behind. You see reminders everywhere, a song, a scent, a place. And suddenly, you're back in that moment, wishing you could have one more day, one more word, one more chance to say, I love you. But that's life. It gives and it takes, often without warning. What I've learned is that love never really leaves us. It changes form. It becomes the reason we keep going, the whisper that tells us to get up, to keep believing. Grief doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've loved deeply. And even though the pain can be unbearable at times, I wouldn't trade it because it reminds me of what was real. I've seen the lights of Hollywood, the fame, the applause, but none of it means a thing when the people you care about aren't there to share it. What matters is the quiet moments, the hugs, the laughter, the simple words of kindness. I think that's what I want people to remember. Not my films, not my name, but that I loved. And I try to live with grace even when it hurt. So if you're watching this, take a moment today to tell someone you care, forgive where you can, and live while you still have time. Because one day, those chances will be gone. And if my story has touched your heart, subscribe to the channel not for me, but to keep sharing the kind of love and humanity that keeps us all going. You know, the older I get, the more I realize that life is not about how much we have, but how much we've loved. The people I've lost, they never really leave me. They live in my memories, in my heart, in the quiet moments, when I close my eyes and smile. Sometimes I still talk to them, not out loud, but in my thoughts. I tell them I miss them. I tell them I'm trying. And I tell them I'm grateful for every moment we had. That's what keeps me going. Love doesn't die, it transforms. It becomes the strength that gets you through the lonely days, the warmth that stays even when the world feels cold. I've learned that we don't heal by forgetting. We heal by remembering with grace. So, if you've lost someone, don't hide from the pain. Let it shape you. Let it teach you how precious life truly is. You know, when you reach a certain age, you stop chasing the noise and start listening to the silence. And in that silence, you hear the voices of those you've lost, the laughter, the love, the little things you once took for granted. I think about Natasha sometimes, about how one moment can change everything. People see you smile on screen and think you've moved on, but truth is, you never really do. You just learn to live with the emptiness, to make peace with the echoes. I wake up some mornings and still expect her voice, still imagine her walking through the door, but then I remember love doesn't vanish. It simply changes form. It becomes a part of you, something that quietly keeps you standing when the world feels heavy. And that's what I hold on to. I've learned that grief is the price we pay for love, and it's a price worth paying. Because if we were lucky enough to love deeply, then even the pain is a reminder that it was real. I tell people, don't be afraid to feel. Don't hide from your sorrow. Let it remind you of how much your heart can hold. At 73, I'm not afraid of time anymore. I'm just grateful for the love I knew, the lessons I learned, and the people who still walk beside me, even if only in memory. So if you're listening to this, take a moment to call someone you love, forgive someone who hurt you, and live fully. Because one day, all that will matter is how deeply you loved. You know, when you reach this age, you start to understand that life isn't about the awards, the fame, or the applause. It's about the people who shared the quiet moments with you, the ones who made ordinary days feel extraordinary. I've had an incredible journey, yes. Movies, stories, faces from all over the world, but none of it fills the space left by those who are gone. I still think of Natasha. Some days it feels like she's right there beside me, laughing, smiling, living in the smallest corners of memory. Losing her, it didn't break me. It changed me. Grief, I've learned, is not something you conquer. It's something you carry, gently, every day. Subscribe for more stories like this.